So, Antonio, welcome to Advisor Pro's podcast series. Just as an introduction, my name is Sam Arora. I'm one of the business directors over here, having conversations with many different learned authors, coaches, mentors. And today I'll be having a casual chat with you and learning more about your experience, the why now, how can you help, and what is the key message. As a start question, Antonio, if I met you in a coffee shop, how would you describe what you do?
Thank you, Sam, for the invitation. Nice to meet you, and I'm glad you suggested this opportunity. Yeah, let's start straightforward. What I do, what I often say is that I close the gap between business people and information technology people. Probably who is in business already experienced that. As a business person, talk with an IT, there are always some uncomfortable misunderstanding or difficulties to have a common ground. Due my experience as an entrepreneur, as a business person, but also as an IT person, I'm not a coder, I'm not a deep IT person, but good enough to talk with the IT person in the same language. So what I can do, this is my forte, is to understand the business side, talking with business people the same language, understanding the business processes, and then talk to IT person in order to clarify what the business needs.
Bridging the gap between the IT challenge and the business challenge and how they can meet together and, solve whatever the
Exactly.
situation is. Because, Antonio, looking at your profile, right? I've done the stalking of your LinkedIn profile. You've been obviously around the block for 35 plus years. You've held many different positions as, a CRO, as, sales, business development, marketing. Maybe at some point you also sweep the chimney. Who knows? But what made you start your journey in the whole CRM space?
Yeah, it was quite long ago. Because I'm a quite lazy person, I don't like to make effort for nothing. I can work hard, but if I have to waste my time to do repetitive stuff or searching for a business telephone number, something like that, or some information about the client, I get bored. So it was long ago during one of my initial businesses. I was involved in sales, try to catch up with the client, with a prescriptor, architect, and engineers in building construction. I searched some way to digitalize all this information, but there were nothing around. So we were at the very beginning. So I started to develop it. I took Access, that at that point was the database from Microsoft, and I started to develop a CRM without knowing that was a CRM. It was roughly the same time of Thomas Siebel. He was luckier than me.
Wow.
Yeah, he had been luckier than me, definitively. So starting to do that, then I moved to FileMaker. I developed something that could be sellable. So I started to sell around copies of those databases in order to look after the clientele, especially in sales process, sales agents, activities like that. So I did that for a while and I make some money about that. The technology was very poor at the time, but also the market wasn't very attractive. So I was so at the beginning that, and then probably I was very young and very inexperienced. So I kept the technology. I always used the database to run sales processes, but I did other things. I worked as a sales director, as a marketing director. I did other activities, also enterprises.
Yeah.
And that's why I can properly connect the business world with the IT because I've been in both positions.
Yeah. Because essentially, and you're right. I mean, look, when I started my sales journey, it was pre-Salesforce, right? I was exposed to my record keeping was a book and a pencil, and it
Yeah,
was
probably.
at exactly. And, when got introduced to Salesforce back in as a system back, I think in 2004, that was like, oh my God, CRM actually was born properly then. Where it is right now, it's a whole different ballgame. You look at the CRM systems out there in the market, every sort of flavor is available. Obviously, now the whole theme for our audiences, primarily for, small businesses, because when I look at myself, been in working for companies for the last 15, 20 years using HubSpot, using Pipedrive, using Salesforce and all that. But now when I'm starting my own journey, I'm thinking, something so big and enterprise is not something I need. I need something simple, but not a book and pencil, but something that is integrated where I can identify the lead, register a lead, track the lead, follow the lead, work the lead, and even hopefully after a lead has become a customer, can interact and do some billing through it. So, it's crazy how that whole market has changed. So from your perspective, right, as an expert, your focus is primarily on CRM project management, CRM advice. So what's the core message you would like the audience, you hope that the audience could take away today from this conversation?
Thank you. Thank you for this question. Yes, I started to focus my attention fully on CRM in 2015, 2016 back. Since then, I developed a lot of system for clients. Something that I often see is that companies tend to select the platform, the technology as a first step. They first decide, I want Pipedrive, or I want Salesforce, I want HubSpot. And then they search someone possibly inside the vendor partners list that can help them to install it, to implement it. Nothing wrong, but the client rarely knows enough about CRM to lead the project at the proper way. If you take an IT person that generally the vendor of the partner of the vendor are generally IT person, and you say, do that for me, what they do? They implement it. But if you give them an instruction, maybe it's not totally wrong, but it's not absolutely perfect for your business, you get something that is not useful. They implement it, but you don't understand until you use and you find it boring, you find it complicated. Why so complicated? As a business person, you don't have the capability to catch the little difference between something that really solve your problem easily and something that complicates your
Yeah,
business.
absolutely. Absolutely. Because you look at these implementation services partners, right? They want to sell their services ultimately, which is fine. You may have a requirement for 5 things, they will bring 20 things and complicate the whole matter. So I guess the question then for the audience is that if the audience could remember one framework, tool, or a piece of advice, what should it be? If I today am going out, my business is just me, I'm going and, doing my prospecting. I want to create or work on a CRM, which is going to allow me to do. What would you give? What a piece of advice or framework would you say I should look at to really ease into this journey?
I often use a metaphor. Sam, if you are going to build an house for yourself, what do? You call a builder or an architect?
Oh, is that a question? Well, I would not. Well, personally, for me, ideally, I would call an architect to lay the design, right?
Exactly. Then, when the architect developed the plan, you call several builders and you ask their for price. You have a clear plan, clear design. This is what I want. Please give me the price. If you call a builder and you say, "Oh, I would like to have an house that and that," it's not a builder job. The builder execute what someone designed.
Absolutely. But if you're a small business, sometimes, you may have restrictions, in terms of investing in an architect or, a project manager, or you might just say, okay, I want a one-stop shop, right? So what would they need to have in place, or what would they sort of have in mind to go through that process? Obviously, yeah, for sales and business professionals who are getting into this, it's easy because they've used different platforms and systems. But something like a tradesperson or someone who's offering different type of labor work or stuff like that,
Your point
it's
is absolutely correct. Is absolutely correct. Of course, if you have to build a big house, you call the architect. But if you have to develop a shed, something small, For a small business, it's difficult to involve an architect. So my suggestion is, theoretically, the best way is that you, as a business owner, know enough about the matter, CRM in this case, that you can lead the builder. Is not always really possible, because you, as a business person, cannot waste your time to learn everything about CRM in order to lead a builder. But you can get an help. You can get an help, someone that can dedicate some hours of the time. I often give support to small businesses, few hours, not a big project, but something that says, okay, what do you need to achieve? These are the possible technology available. They are the prices. You choose the technology and you do that and that. And in some way, it helps to start better.
Yeah, you learn, right? You learn. You have to make a few mistakes to learn actually what works. So I want to talk a little bit about your book, CRM for Medium and Small Enterprises, right? So let's talk a little bit about that. Obviously, the title gives it away, but maybe you could give a little bit synopsis. Obviously, we know your background, your passion, your history for creating or being interested in the CRM space, but I'd love to know, the book you've written and what would be some of the key takeaways if I was reading it. I'll put my hand up. I haven't read it. I know enough about CRM to be a little bit dangerous, but if someone was reading it, how would they benefit from it?
Well, thank you for asking. The book has born as a practical way to deal with CRM implementation projects. So what I do is exactly that. I am an expert in implementation project of CRM. So I've seen many implementation projects. I lead them. I help the entrepreneurs through that. And what I've seen is that often there is a missing point. Let's talk about the sales process. If you go in a company, even a medium or large company, and you ask the sales director, okay, let me know what is the typical sales process of your business. You can believe 9 out of 10 have no answer. They don't know what is a typical sales process. But be aware, it's not that they don't know. They can't talk about that. They do.
They can't articulate it. Yes.
Cannot articulate, exactly. They do, actually, they do the process. They lead the salesperson to do a process, but
Can't draw the picture.
they cannot articulate, they cannot divide in stages what happens here, what happens there. No. And in some way, my role is exactly to clarify, and the book does that. Try to think your sales process as a process. What happens in each stage? What is the purpose of the process? To get the client confident with your solution. What do the client expect from you to become confident with your solution? What do they expect? It's not about me to sell you, but you as a client are here to learn about me, what I can provide to you, what value can provide to you, and if that match with your solution, the solution you need. So shift of the approach, and not to sell, but to be.
It's more consultative, right? To understand what they're looking for, what their pain is, the challenges, and work around that and bridge the gap.
In
Bring it
my
back to the start of the
book, I
conversation.
focus a lot on this understanding of the processes, and how to use the technology to facilitate those processes.
So tell me something. You've obviously been there, done that. You must have had a lot of engagements, a lot of projects, working with all different shapes and sizes of businesses. What is the one common mistake or one or two mistakes you see very common that people are making again and again in this sort of thing?
Thank you for that.
Because a lot of times people go into businesses, there's already an existing CRM platform in place. So I think that then would make the conversation a bit more challenging, and there might be a lot of mistakes. So anything interesting that you see commonly people making?
Yeah, either if they have a digital CRM in place or not, generally a CRM is always in place. Maybe pencil and paper, but is a way to manage the relationship with the client. So it doesn't matter if it is digital or not, but it's always in place. The point is that when managers and entrepreneurs start to think about CRM, it is about the technology. Most people think about the technology. What a CRM is a software. is a piece of software that does something for me. This is a very common mistake. CRM is not primarily a piece of software. It is primarily a strategy. What do you do? What do you want to do with your client? How do you want to manage the relationships with the client? What do you want to happen? What do you want to achieve? It's not about the software. The software is only a facilitator.
It's a tool. Yeah.
It's a tool, yes. But people think I put everything in the tool and I solve my problem. It doesn't happen. It needs a logic and a strategic approach.
Yeah. I mean, again, this is where it's very interesting. Who takes that responsibility within the business? And I think it needs to come from the top, right? It needs to be the owner of the business, the CEO or the CRO or someone who's actually running commercial operations, because where CRM systems sit now, it caters to everything, right from sales to marketing to operations to IT to after sales support to service delivery. So that's how the whole ecosystem is built, and that's why you have Salesforce being the leader in terms of the $1 billion, $1 trillion company, whatever it may be. So, anyways, we're not here to talk about Salesforce. We're here to talk about
There is a lot of marketing there.
Yeah. So for me, I think, if you were to go back 10 years and, you were to give yourself one piece of advice, what would that be?
This is a very interesting question. 10 years ago, I was a completely different person, but probably be more careful. I've been involved in startup in the last 10 years. I developed some startup while I was doing CRM consultancy. So paralleling, I've been involved in startups, and sometimes that is a very demanding job. I was full of energy. I thought I can do everything, but then you find yourself in big problems that you don't expect to manage. So it was absolutely a training. Yes, I learned a lot, but it was challenging.
Yeah. So take it in your own stride. Absolutely. I mean, energy is one thing. There's also the enthusiasm, right? Because it's like you walk into a candy shop, you want to eat all the candy, but the mouth can only take so much and your stomach can only digest so much.
You are eating something not really good that you could avoid.
So where you are right now, how would you personally define success? What is success for you? How do you define success?
Interesting question. Very interesting. On the contrary of the majority of people, for me, success is what is defined as a rippling effect. The rippling effect is when I do something little or big that affect on you, and you will change your approach, your way to do, and you fact will affect someone else. So from something even small that I've done with you, with someone else, this moves to everyone around. So the effect involved 100,000 of people around.
Yeah. So essentially your one action has paid it forward 1,000 times. It's like, I get that. And that's amazing. That's fantastic. So someone listening to this for the first time, right? Or someone listening to this, and they're probably thinking, okay, I need to look at them. What is the first step? What's the simplest action they could take in the next 24 hours to make a change in how they're using the CRM system or they're using the sales processes or business processes?
Well, a good, effective action is to buy my book and read it. It's published by Routledge, so it's available on Amazon and everything. But apart of the joke, of course, that is a good thing. But I believe that people could try to change their point of view. Think about CRM as a strategic issue, not a technology issue.
With that said, Antonio, I am very grateful for your time. I think, I've learned something new for sure. And I'm hoping that the audience, whoever listens to this, has found it useful and will take some key tips. And hopefully, who knows, your one step could lead to many, many amazing positive actions. So I want to thank you for your time today and I wish you all the best in your journey ahead.
I wish the best to you too.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for everyone who came with us until this point. Thank you.